2 games tomorrow. Double headers coming your way. We haven't had one yet. So there you go. We've got double header happening tomorrow. Saturday, it's Delhi and Rajasthan. Well, this game, Rajasthan is not cheering for Delhi. I'll just take what I said back a little while ago. But the other teams are. So Delhi play Rajasthan. And of course, that's happening at Abu Dhabi. That's the first game. Let's have a look at the Delhi team. Of course, for Delhi, the main concern, the only concern, the primary concern would, of course, be the injury to Marcus Stoinis. Pulled up at the time. Calf, was it, Harsha? Is that what they said? Calf?
Yeah,
Hammy?
but these teams are such good physios that at most you might, I mean, unless he's torn something, they put you back on the ground. You might miss one game here and there, but they've got so many options in that Delhi side that they won't actually miss one player. So who can they play instead of...
straight Tom Curran. If you want a like for like, you get... I mean, maybe Tom Curran?
Could be.
Because you need the overs.
More bowler than batsman. They might say, look, we've got 5 really good bowlers. Let's go with Steve Smith and get him to bowl 1 over of leg spin if required. They could go with a pure batsman.
Lalit Yadav as well.
They could just go Lalit Yadav and play only 3 overseas players.
Yeah.
They've got a strong squad. That's a strong squad.
Abundance of riches.
That's Ricky Ponting going to sleep at night, not worried. He's quite happy with whatever combination they decide upon, and he deserves a lot of credit for the way that he's got Delhi playing. I think they're a tremendous side now.
I actually didn't get we spoke about that a lot during the curtain raiser, but Michael, want to ask you as well, because you talk about Ricky Ponting. He's a friend who's been a foe. He's a friend, someone you know well, somebody you've operated with. You know the culture there. What did you make of Shreyas Iyer coming back, but the captaincy staying with Rishabh Pant?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Ricky's doing at Delhi is creating a culture that everyone leads. I think that's why he likes to develop a team that he's got all leaders. They're all thinking about the game. They're all smart and clever on the game. That's what I see with Chennai tonight. They're all clever players, and I think that's what Ricky's trying to develop at Delhi. So it's almost irrelevant who the captain on the pitch is, because everyone can have an input. Everyone can have a say, and the captain at that time, and it's Rishabh Pant, will make the final decision. But I don't think in a Ricky Ponting team, the captain of the T20 team is the be-all and end-all. I think he expects everyone to think like a captain. That's what Australia did for many, many years. Obviously, he was at the head of the side as a captain, but you go back to Steve Waugh's days and Mark Taylor, they all seem to think like captains, the Australians, when they're playing well. And you look at what Ricky has done in his career, what he's doing at Delhi. He's been a part of Mumbai, so he knows how a strong franchise system works. And I think he's taken a bit of what happened at Mumbai, and he's travelled to Delhi and tried to deliver a similar kind of principle, and it seems to be working.
Normally, principles from Mumbai don't do well in Delhi, but talking about politically, of course, but cricket-wise, it seems to be working. But Harsha, just to stay on this point for just a second, because we don't know how many retentions there will be, because 2 new teams will be coming in. So obviously, they will be opposed to too many retentions, because then the best players go away. But let's say you go with even. If you go with even the least two retentions, the 2 they're retaining, Delhi would be Shreyas and Rishabh. Yeah, so let's say Shreyas and Rishabh are the 2 that you're definitely retaining. Then who do you make captain the next season or for the next 3 years?
But Shreyas has the option of saying, I don't want to be retained. Remember, you're not forced to be retained. If you say, right, if I'm retained, I'm probably going to get X. But if I go into the auction, I might get 1.3, 1.5x,
Yeah.
So they have the option of not being retained. So if Shreyas doesn't want to be retained, do you take a punt on Shikhar Dhawan, for example? He's had 6 great seasons, but how much longer does he have? Do you buy him back in the auction at whatever price? Do you say, oh, hang on, Kagiso Rabada's a good player. Do I punt on Rabada? So they've got a bit of they've got Prithvi Shaw. They've got a bit of thinking to do, but it's a wonderfully assembled side. So tomorrow, Ravichandran Ashwin is injured. They pick Amit Mishra, right?
Yeah.
So it's
if there's no Avesh Khan, you've got Ishant Sharma. Yeah.
There's Umesh Yadav has just come back bowling so well in the Test match. He's just sitting around over there. So they've got loads to pick from. It's a very well constructed side. It's the first time they did really well in the auction. Chennai had a great auction the first time around, and they lived off that for a long time. And I think for 3 years, Delhi have lived off it. I'm not a great fan of suddenly forcing people to change everything in 3 years, because all your good deeds are gone then. So hopefully that will change in course of time. But tomorrow, if Rajasthan somehow can beat Delhi, that is going to be a huge result. It'll just turn the table topsy-turvy.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they have to do that auction now because 2 new teams are coming in. But let's just hope that that's the last one, because you don't want these teams to be jumbled again and again. It changes affiliations, it changes cultures, it changes so many things. It's really not the way that leagues are run. But hey, still a young league, just 13, 14 years old. So it'll definitely find its feet. Rajasthan. What's going to happen with Rajasthan tomorrow? Let's have a look at that team. Well, there you go. Great stuff from Evan Lewis, Yashasvi Jaiswal. Teams looking all right, Michael.
Yeah, I don't have them as one of the strongest groups, but they've got a lot of talent. As Harsha mentioned earlier, they've got players that on their day can win a game of T20 on their own. A Livingston, a Lewis, fantastic strikers of a ball. I just wonder, they've just won a game that they shouldn't have won. And that can really galvanise you as a team. When you win a game where you're out of it, you've got no chance, and all of a sudden you win it, you can get a lot of momentum and a lot of really inner belief of winning the tight game. So I just wonder, particularly playing a side like Delhi, who are hot favourites. Forget that Rajasthan have won the last game. Whoever Delhi play at the minute, they seem to have that mechanism of playing good, smart cricket, very similar to Chennai. So Delhi are favourites, but I'm interested to see how much of a lift that's given the Rajasthan players from winning that game for nothing, really. I'm intrigued to see whether. So I think they'll have to raise the game again. I don't think they'll play to a similar standard and beat Delhi. I think they'll have to be better with the bat. I think they'll have to be smart. They're brilliant with the ball at the end, but I think they'll have to play a smarter game for the 40 overs to beat a Delhi side. But they've got threats. They've got threats, but I don't have them as winning the IPL this year with that group of players. I have to be honest.
I want to just ask you one question. Actually, I don't need to ask you that question, because if you go through, whenever Michael Vaughan has spoken about England players, the one that he's been most bullish about in the last 12 months is old LL, Liam Livingston, right? You were speaking, you were talking about him a lot. I think before we saw him, obviously the summer was kind of his summer, big internationally, domestically, everything. I think could this be the season when IPL fans figure out the brilliance?
It could. I watch him a lot, and I've seen him, obviously huge amount over here, but I do think he's got the game and the swagger to potentially be one of the next group of superstars in T20 cricket. I really believe, if you look at what Glenn Maxwell's done in T20 cricket over the years, gone for huge amounts of money. I think he's got it in him to be the similar kind of player over the next 5 or 6 years, because he bowls a bit. He bowls leg spin, off spin, brilliant fielder, and he just crashes the ball, and he can bat anywhere. He can bat anywhere in that top 6. I really do think he could be a special player. He hasn't done it yet, and he hasn't done it consistently at the highest level, but I do think he has got a game that potentially could do it consistently for a long period of time.